Co sądzisz o nowych historiach i nowych postaciach, jakie wypuszcza Disney?
Yes, I mean the new series of if you like the spin-offs from the original are it's kind of extraordinary how they've just gone out and spread out, and there's so much of it now. It's and it's very high quality. I think it's terrific.
Jak sądzisz, jaki wpływ miało Star Wars na twoją karierę?
Well, actually, although it was an extraordinary experience doing those first three films, it was just amazing. And as we went on over a number of years, it was, and we all became closer too with the other actors. Myself and Mark Hamill became good friends, and over the movies and stuff. But I would say I've done so much different kinds of work. I've done a lot of work in the theatre. I've done musicals. I direct in the theatre as well, and I had lots of television and other movies. So I wouldn't say that it was an extraordinary experience, but essentially it didn't affect the rest of my career. The rest of my career was very, very busy at the point where I got the first movie in 1976. I'd already made 2 movies in France that year, and so in a sense, although it was such an extraordinary event, those movies, and in terms of my own personal career, it didn't really have a huge effect.
Co czułeś, gdy dowiedziałeś się, że twój siostrzeniec dostał rolę w tej serii?
I was I'll tell you, it was very funny because my nephew likes to tell a story where I told him, no, don't do it, which was not the case. I said to him, when he was asked to do the first movie, are you sure about this? Because there's a thing that happens if you have a lot of success in one role. You become typecast, so you only get roles like that. But he is such a brilliant actor. He's an extraordinary actor that never had an impact on the rest of the kind of work he's been offered since. So I'm glad to say he ignored me completely, which is great. And of course he did a beautiful job.
W którym kierunku zmierza teraz twoja kariera?
Well, my career now is still very interesting. I still I direct in the theatre. I've also, on another level, taught screen acting to young actors for some years and published a book on it. I'm still working. Next month, I'm working on television. So I'm still very busy, But I'll tell you a thing about being here today in Poland, in Poznan. I never feel that I've traveled very well in my life. And I didn't do comic cons for many years until a friend of mine said, just do them, for God's sake, just do them. And these things have taken me all over the world. Last year, I'd never been to Canada in my life. I was in 4 cities in Canada last year: Toronto, Calgary, Winnipeg, and Ottawa. And then I went to Nashville, which was incredible. So, and how brilliant to be in Poland. I probably never have come. So it's the movies have given me that actually in a way I never expected, which is fantastic.
Jak bycie tak zajętym wpływa na twoje życie prywatne?
My personal life is I have an amazing wife, Karen, who's also Scottish. I'm Scottish, and we have a very strong relationship. And she quite often travels with me. She couldn't come to today, but we have a very strong relationship, and she's a very strong, independent woman. So that's never been an issue.
Czy kiedykolwiek myślałeś, a co by było, gdybym odrzucił tę rolę?
No, I've never thought about that. It came in a very so it came in a very summer of 1976, along with a lot of other young actors. I met this guy in London called George Lucas for this movie called Star Wars, and we all met him. We had sat and had a chat with him, and that was that. And then I went away, and as I said, it was a very interesting year. I made 2 different movies in France that year. With some amazing people. Then I came back to London, and I got a call from my agent saying, "Oh, they want you to do that film, that Star Wars." Oh, really? Oh, okay. So I'd finished that work. I thought, well, I have the time. Yeah, okay. Well, let's go for it. You know. So it was very. It almost felt accidental. By the time I met George, it was like maybe a couple of months later. So I was going, well, that's not happening. So I'll do this, you know. So it just, and then it was an extraordinary experience, you know, because we didn't know, particularly the first movie, right? We didn't know what we were in. I don't think we even saw a full script. So we would just we shot in this big studio in North London, and I knew a lot of the other guys. We were young actors in London. I knew a lot of them, and we'd sit outside the sound stage chatting away in our orange suits. And one by one, we were called in to sit in the cockpit, and George was by the camera, and la la la, doing all that. And it was so basic. It was you climbed a ladder, you were on a wooden platform. There were 4 guys at each corner doing that, so you were walking around like that. And we didn't know what was behind us. Nobody said anything about green screen. We didn't know that stuff. And it wasn't until we sat down months and months later and watched it. It just blew your mind. What they'd done with the material. It was extraordinary, just extraordinary. So it's very exciting to be involved in that technical advance. But not just that, of course, the scripts. George's scripts are brilliant, absolutely brilliant, you know.